All right, Danielle, this episode of the Job Market Tea by the Worksties is sponsored by socialjobs.com. Check them out to advertise your job socially. All right, should we dive in to the numbers on the tea report? All right.
March jobs report.
I know. I feel like the economy right now and everything that's happening is just a little exhausting. So we're going to run through these and have a conversation about it.
I feel like we just did the February one.
Yeah,
How did it already get to the April?
I don't even know. It completely flew by, I feel like. All right, headline numbers. Jobs added 228,000. It was 140,000 more than expected, but I think par for the course. We'll probably see that number be adjusted. Just guessing. Because it's been adjusted every single month. And they actually went back and adjusted January and February. And it's down by combined 48.
Yeah, really high. That seems really high.
I think it'll be, are we adjusting now over 2 quarters or 2 months, it sounds like? Because before it was just really a month back or a couple months back, but I feel like it's consistently going back into the previous months. So we'll see if that continues. Unemployment rate is 4.2%. So we're seeing a slight uptick in that. I think that 4.2% is still low just because of the way that we record unemployment. It's who's collecting unemployment and who's lowered payroll. But if someone's been out of work for, 6 months and their benefits have ended or a year or whatever that is, they're not showing. And they'd already be gone from payroll numbers. They'd already be gone from that unemployment or collecting unemployment.
Yeah, I think they have to look at the job participation rate, like who's actively looking and all of that. But I don't know how they would measure that specifically.
Yeah, I agree. And then wage growth is still going up month over month, which I think is a little interesting as well, based on some of the conditions and jobs that are being offered. I think now I've seen lower pay rates on things, not higher pay rates on things. So we'll see if this trend continues. But 0.3% month over month, it's up, and then 3.8% year over year. Labor force participation remained unchanged at 62.5%, which again, I feel like that number is a little bit skewed because we're not seeing some of the impacts of what's happened with layoffs and things of that nature hit that number yet, because there's still, paychecks being paid, packages being paid out, things of that nature. So I think that number will take a little while to catch up. Maybe September we'll know, unless more things are added in to the economy, right? I think in September, that number we might start to see shift again. It could be sooner than that. We talked about the revisions
Yeah.
already. For sector highlights, healthcare is up 54,000 jobs, social assistance 24,000 jobs, transportation and warehousing up 23,000, retail is up 24,000, and there's a note that it's boosted by strike resolutions. And construction is up 13,000. Top sectors under pressure are your corporate in tech. Continue strategic hiring freezes. I think I've seen more orgs restructures out there. Not I think I've seen, I know I've seen out there. The government jobs show strength, but they are about to take a hit due to additional layoffs. So we'll watch those shifts. Red flags, over 20,000 federal layoffs, IRS, NIH, VA are expected to impact future months, but are not fully reflected yet due to severance days, which we just talked about. Mass corporate cuts that we've seen are Meta, CNN, Starbucks, Nike, and several media outlets. It's interesting. I was just thinking about this today.
Yeah.
I don't want to get stuck on media, but when I think about all the reporting and some of the noise that's out there, there's so much. It's so hard to cut through everything and then figure out what's real and what's just noise and what's someone kicking up dust. There's a lot out there. I would like to start something called middle news. I was thinking where it kind of cuts the extreme and the extreme and it's somewhere in the middle. I'd tune in. Just tell me the facts. That's it. What's happening, and tell me the facts surrounding it. That's all I want to know.
Well, that's like what it used to be. That was traditional media, was like nightly news and, the daily newspaper and things like that. And we haven't had that in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of personal perspective to it. All right. Trade war, tension, the tariffs. That's all I'm going to say. That's some of the things just to watch out for in the market. I have not heard this word one day of my life since the past, I don't know, couple months. So we'll just leave that there.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just leave it right there. All right, revised January and February numbers signal downward momentum under the surface. So when we think about those numbers that are continuing to be revised after, a good outlook or something that was projected higher, it's just really something to watch because we are really continuing to adjust those numbers down. I did not look at the math of what it did to January, but they grouped it together. I think a lot of that hit in January, some of it probably February, but they're not really segmenting to tell us, where that's actually happening. Well, top line numbers look strong. There are storm clouds gathering. Federal layoffs, corporate contraction, and tariff shocks could disrupt momentum. We're still in a worker favored market, but it's becoming more selective and skills driven by the day. So skills-based hiring, I think we're seeing a little bit more and more overall as we continue. So job growth by the numbers, March showed surprising strength at 22,228 jobs added. It beats expectations, but again, we'll watch to see if that is something that holds steady. Unemployment rate, again, something to note that it is ticking up, although job participation rate is staying steady. And then wage growth, we're still seeing that tick up as well. The vibe check, what's real? Big hiring in healthcare and social services. Steady wins the race is a highlight note on that. Corporate and tech layoffs, shrinking budgets, leading operations, and then it's specific tech as well. So when you think about AI, agentic AI, and some of those things that are new out there in the marketplace, those are still growing. Those are becoming a little bit more niche, and there's a high demand for them as other tech skills are starting to sunset. Wage growth favors mid-level skilled workers, especially in recession-proof roles. So that's where we're still seeing some of the growth in wages there. If you're, like we just said, if you're in AI, compliance, healthcare, cybersecurity, you're pretty good. You're pretty golden. And then federal layoffs haven't hit the numbers yet, but they're coming. So we'll have to watch to see what that does. So it's still a decent market if you're positioned right overall. There are some additional challenges and headwinds that continue to hit the job market. I think we'll continue to still see optimization in places in the name of optimization, restructures, reorgs across different businesses. Key sectors segment spotlight. There's growth still happening in certain areas. So we talked a little bit about some of the transportation jobs that are increasing. We've also seen some increases in healthcare still in other areas, and then tech in certain places too. So that is the high level highlights of the job market tea for March 2025. Anything else to add, Danielle?
Anything I could add would really just be my opinion or speculation because I feel like, you always get a sense of kind of what the year may look like by the end of the first quarter. So now we're officially into second quarter. Companies will start to reevaluate, where they're at, how their first quarter improved or didn't improve or what have you. And then maybe that will start to impact more hiring as we go out through the year.
Yeah. I think they're, continuing to look for efficiencies, cost saving measures. Like I said, optimization, in the name of optimization, that'll be something that we'll continue to see as a trend as we continue in this market because it is so, I don't know, uncertain is probably the best word that I can think of as we kind of walk forward through these remaining months that we have left in this year. So it'll be interesting to watch.
Absolutely.
All right.
Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment around here. All right, we will end there until next time. This episode has been sponsored by socialjobs.com. Danielle, you want to pick up from there?
You can buy us a coffee. There's links to Ozrain Skincare are both in our show notes. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Audio Boom, iHeart, all of those streaming platforms. Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment, share our podcast with a friend.
All right. Until next time.
Bye.